The series begins in the coastal city of Cape Mercy, where we see Anna, Maddie, Lauren, and Stevie, who have been friends since childhood. Their main hobby is searching for treasures at the bottom of the sea. Every day, they ride their boat named Andy and sail together into the ocean, diving together to explore new things. One day, they dive into the sea and find a strange box. They bring it up together to see what's inside and discover an old photograph. Suddenly, the clear sky and calm waves turn into a violent storm, so they quickly head back to shore before the storm drowns them. They reach the shore just in time, where the person in charge of the harbor is waiting for them. Together, they pull the boat onto the shore, cover it, and then get ready to head home. But Lauren remembers she left her phone on the boat, so she runs back quickly to get it. Her friends head home, except for Stevie, who stays waiting for her. Suddenly, Stevie hears Lauren scream, so she rushes to check on her and discovers that both Lauren and the boat have disappeared. 3 days pass while everyone searches for Lauren everywhere. Stevie and the rest of the group try to return to the sea to look for her, but the harbor master refuses because he's afraid for their safety. However, they still want to find the boat, as they are sure Lauren would never have sailed it herself. The only proof they might find is a broken mast, which would show that the storm moved it, not a person. At that moment, in the middle of the sky, a helicopter appears carrying the city's chief engineer and his daughter, Isabel. She comes with him to spend the vacation together, and on the way, Isabel notices an overturned boat. A little later, they arrive in the city, where the mayor and her daughter Anna are responsible for welcoming them. Anna takes Isabel to the guest house where she'll be staying, and Isabel is amazed by how beautiful the house is when she enters. Then she sees a painting on the wall of a beautiful girl and learns from Anna that it's Mercy, her grandmother, who discovered the city and after whom it was named. After a while, Anna goes to sit with her friends while Isabel sits behind them. Suddenly, she hears them talking about their boat, which they need to find. So she tells them that she saw an overturned boat somewhere on the island. They decide to steal one of the harbor boats and check if it's theirs. They manage to steal one and head together to the spot, but they discover that it's not the same boat. So they decide to dive together and search for anything useful. And Anna finds her grandmother's medicine box. She tells her friends that her grandmother will be so happy about it. Then they return together to attend the mayor's speech, where she'll announce the festival date. The mayor starts talking about their efforts in searching for Lauren, until suddenly, in the middle of her speech, the power goes out and a bright light appears near the shore. Everyone runs toward the source of the light and sees Henry arriving with the boat. Andy after managing to find it, but it's empty. The whole group runs toward him and are shocked when they see the mast standing upright and intact, meaning Lauren really did sail it. The next day, we see Anna's grandmother sitting with the harbor supervisor, Paul, telling him that the engineer who's coming to fix the city's lighting won't care about Mercy's lighthouse, since he's only working on the new areas of the city. That means the lighthouse, which has always been lit during every festival for years, won't be working this year. Both of them feel sad about their traditions and customs that are slowly being forgotten over time. Then Anna's grandmother changes the subject and tells Paul that she knows he hasn't liked the church since his wife's death, but he can't stay alone for too long or he'll lose his mind. It almost sounds like a warning, so Paul thanks her and leaves. We then see Isabel watching the video diaries that Lauren and her friends used to post online. The group overhears her and comes in to sit with her, surprised that she's using the internet without electricity. Isabel shows them a device that allows her to do that. Suddenly, they also find a radio transmitter she uses to communicate with her father. Stevie turns it on and hears the police chief talking about an emergency meeting. They decide to use the device to spy on the police chief and find out the latest updates in the search for Lauren, who turns out to be his own daughter. Maddie distracts him while Stevie places the device in his car. A little later, the mayor arrives to talk to him and admits that they're wasting their resources searching for Lauren, saying there's no reason to believe she's still alive, especially after finding the boat. Lauren's father gets angry and tells her he'll never stop searching for his daughter no matter what. The group then gathers at a restaurant where Stevie spots her boyfriend Hayden, who has just gotten out of prison after stealing a boat from the harbor and wrecking it at sea. But Anna stops her from talking to him because of what he did. At another table sits Henry, looking deeply sad. So Maddie decides to go comfort him, since he used to be Lauren's boyfriend, even though they broke up 2 weeks before she disappeared. Maddie sits with him and learns from him where he found the boat. The whole group then decides to go there together to search for any clue proving that Lauren is still alive. They all dive into the sea, including Isabel, who accidentally finds Lauren's phone. Everyone gets excited and decides to take it back to their special place, which is the diving club. There, they tell Isabel about the city's founder founder, Mercy, who came from Russia on a ship that later sank, forcing everyone to board lifeboats. Amid the waves and storms, Mercy used her experience at sea to guide them safely to the right place, and they settled on Cape Mercy Island, naming it after the woman who saved them. Isabel is fascinated by their story and feels genuinely happy. Then they all sit together watching Lauren's old videos recorded on her phone, becoming emotional as they miss her deeply. Suddenly, a video appears showing Lauren on the beach on the day of the storm. She says fearfully that she suspects someone has been watching her and that the same person went through her room while she was away because she found something very important. She goes on to say she doesn't know who to trust, not even her own father. Everyone is shocked and looks at each other, guessing that Lauren might have been kidnapped and wondering what she could have been hiding and how they can find it. Isabel asks if Lauren had a diary, and the group remembers that she did have one where she used to write everything. They decide that the next day, they'll sneak into her room to search for the journal. The next day, the group waits until Lauren's father leaves the house, and then Stevie and Isabel sneak into Lauren's room. They search everywhere for the diary until suddenly Lauren's father comes back home. Stevie and Isabel quickly hide under the bed and watch as he enters the room looking for something. He talks on the phone, saying he can't find the diary anywhere. At that moment, Stevie notices an old coin lying on the floor, and her eyes widen in shock when she sees it. By accident, she presses the radio transmitter, and the noise draws Lauren's father's attention. Just before he finds them, his car alarm goes off, and he rushes outside to check it, giving Stevie, Isabel, and the rest of the group a chance to escape quickly. Stevie refuses to say what she found. They all go to check their boat, discovering that its sail is torn and part of the hull needs repair. Henry helps them by bringing a new sail, and a spark of admiration appears between him and Isabel. Later, they all head to the diving club, where the girls prepare for a party that will be held at the mayor's house. Isabel doesn't have a proper dress for the event, or even a diving suit to practice with, so the group lets her pick one from their collection. By coincidence, Isabel chooses Lauren's old suit, and everyone gets emotional when they see her wearing it. But they decide to let her keep it on. Suddenly, Uncle Paul arrives with a box full of old dresses that belonged to his late wife and daughter, asking them to wear them at the party that night. Everyone gets excited and puts on the dresses, feeling joyful and nostalgic. During the party, Anna's mother feels embarrassed by her old-fashioned outfit, but Anna slips away to avoid arguing with her. After that, Anna stands with her boyfriend, watching the girls singing at the party, who turns out to be her friend. Meanwhile, Stevie's sister meets Isabel's father, and it's clear they're instantly drawn to each other. Then we see Stevie standing with her boyfriend, Hayden. She suddenly pulls out the coin she found in Lauren's room and asks him how it ended up there. Hayden is shocked and unable to answer, so Stevie walks away upset. The scene flashes back to the day Stevie first found the coin during one of her trips with her friends. She had decided to give it to Hayden as a gift, and he was thrilled and promised to keep it. Then we see Hayden inside Lauren's room, stealing her diary, and the coin falls from his pocket, revealing that he knows something about Lauren's disappearance, or may even be responsible for it. The next day, Stevie goes diving with her sister Lucinda, who notices her sadness and asks if she wants to call their parents. But Stevie says she doesn't want to worry them and insists she's fine. Lucinda tells her not to blame herself for Lauren's disappearance, reminding her that it wasn't her fault and that she couldn't have known what would happen if she'd gone with her that night. She begs her not to do anything reckless, just to punish herself, explaining that there's a difference between pushing yourself and hurting yourself. Stevie thanks her for the advice, and they head home together. Meanwhile, Maddie and Isabel are on their way to the diving club to keep searching for Lauren's diary. But after a long search, they can't find any trace of it. At the same time, Anna is seen having breakfast with her boyfriend, who happens to be her cousin, along with her mother and grandmother. He suggests that Anna should be the one to organize the festival because she's very good at planning events, but the mayor objects, saying she's not ready for such a responsibility yet. However, her cousin and grandmother insist that Anna should do it and praise her skills. Anna's mother looks displeased, but hands her a paper listing everything she needs to prepare. Suddenly, Stevie arrives and urgently asks Anna to come with her. They leave the house together, and Stevie tells Anna that she suspects Lauren had betrayed her with her boyfriend, Hayden, because she always knew Lauren liked him. But Anna refuses to believe it, insisting that Lauren would never do that to her. Meanwhile, Isabel takes diving lessons with Lucinda, spending the whole day learning until she finally earns her certification. Later, she joins the group at the restaurant, happily telling them that she can now dive with them for longer periods. At that moment, Henry is working with Hayden at Paul's boat repair shop. Henry talks to Hayden about his relationship with Stevie, saying he envies him for getting to spend time with her, and adds that he wishes he could have spent more time with Lauren Lauren before she disappeared, since she had been distant for a while and stopped talking to him for reasons he never understood. Hayden grows visibly tense, clearly hiding something. Back with the group, they decide to search again for Lauren's diary until they finally find it, and it turns out Hayden was the one who left it for them. They read it and find that Lauren had written about someone named Kay, along with strange numbers and cryptic notes that make no sense. They also find a phone number saved in Lauren's messages under that name. They decide to text him, pretending to be Lauren, to find out who he really is. They send him messages in Lauren's exact style so he won't get suspicious, and he replies, agreeing to meet them at a specific time and place. Then they find a note in the diary mentioning the coin that Stevie had, the same one Hayden had. They can't understand why the coin was important enough for Lauren to write about it, so they decide to ask Paul, since he's the oldest person on the island. At his house, Paul looks at the coin, and a flicker of tension appears on his face, but he hides it and tells them it's just an old, worthless coin. He advises them to accept that they might never see Lauren again, and to let her rest in peace. The group thanks him, but it's clear they're suspicious. After that, they start preparing for the festival and help Anna organize everything perfectly. They agree that Maddie and Stevie will be the ones to meet the mysterious person Lauren mentioned, since Isabel will be performing at the party, and Anna has to stay there to host. A little later, the party begins, but Anna realizes that Hayden has completely disappeared. He was supposed to be playing music. She quickly asks Maddie to take his place and decides to go with Stevie, since there's no one else available. During the event, Anna sneaks out behind her mother's back with Stevie and heads to the meeting spot. There, Anna sets up a trap by the door in case the person who shows up turns out to be dangerous, so they can catch him easily. They wait quietly until they hear a strange man's voice calling out for Lauren. They ask him how he knows her, but before he can answer, he trips the trap and gets caught in the net. The girls are thrilled that they've managed to capture him. Moments later, Isabel and Maddie arrive, and Isabel is shocked when she sees the man tangled in the net. She asks if there's anyone in the world who doesn't know who he is, then shows them a collection of ocean exploration books written by a man named Leo, who turns out to be the same person caught in the net. But the rest of the group tells her that no matter what, he's still a suspect, and they ask Leo about his connection to Lauren. Leo takes a letter from his pocket, one written by Lauren herself, asking him to come because she needed his advice about something she had discovered after diving down to the wreck of the Russian ship. The group is stunned and refuses to believe him, since they had all agreed never to go near that place because of how dangerous it was. Leo explains that Lauren went there alone because she knew they would have stopped her, saying she had the spirit of a true explorer, someone who never lets danger stand in the way of a goal. He tells them he'd been wanting to meet Lauren for a long time, and when he finally got her message, he came to find out what had happened to her. Then he looks at Maddie, who's wearing Lauren's diving suit, and asks if she's actually Lauren. Maddie tells him she isn't, and that Lauren disappeared 2 weeks ago after the storm. No one has seen her since. Leo replies that her disappearance was bound to happen. They show him the coin they found, but Leo can't figure out its meaning and tells them he'll try to learn more about its history through research, saying ignorance is the beginning of knowledge. Everyone then goes home, agreeing to meet again the next day. That night, Anna argues with her mother for leaving the party. Stevie fights with Hayden and accuses him of cheating, and Isabel walks in on her father while he's on the phone, realizing he's interested in another woman. Meanwhile, Maddie returns to the house where she lives with her grandfather Paul, takes care of him, and helps him get to bed, just like he raised her after both her parents died on the same day. The next morning, Leo is shown sitting at his desk, studying the history of the coin and the Russian ship, the legendary wreck every explorer dreams of finding. But what prevents anyone from reaching it are the abandoned ocean routes, deadly whirlpools, and the sharks swarming around the wreck site, hazards that have already claimed the lives of dozens of explorers. Isabel sees Leo sitting alone and tells him she read the first chapter of his book last night, which was filled with dangerous adventures. She asks if it's possible that Lauren faced some danger she couldn't escape from. Leo says that could very well be the case, but adds that Lauren was a brave soul who never let fear stop her from chasing her goal, even if it cost her life. A little later, they both go to the diving club, where the group is discussing the areas surrounding the Russian shipwreck and which spots they might search for Lauren in. Leo then suggests that to find her, they must retrace her exact path, right through the wreck of the Russian ship. The group is shocked, and fear fills their eyes. knowing that going there could easily cost them their lives. Suddenly, their radio crackles to life with a distress call from an unknown girl begging for help after her ship was destroyed. She gives them her coordinates and pleads for rescue. Leo and the group immediately board his boat, convinced it's Lauren and that they've finally found her. They sail across the open sea, searching for the ship sending the signal, or any island nearby. Eventually, they spot a flashing light and work together to pinpoint its exact direction, moving like a professional rescue team. When they reach the island, they see a girl who looks strikingly like Lauren, and Stevie runs toward her at full speed, only to realize she's not Lauren, but a famous sailor whose boat was wrecked by the storm. Everyone feels disappointed, but they're still happy they managed to save someone whose life could have ended that night. An ambulance takes the rescued sailor away as she's suffering from severe dehydration, lack of food, and sun exposure after being stranded for 2 weeks since the storm ended. Suddenly, while she's still at the dock, another boat arrives with Lauren's jacket on board. At that moment, everyone realizes the truth. Lauren's life has likely come to an end. Her father collapses in grief, holding the jacket in his hands, unable to believe he's lost his daughter. The next day, the mayor decides to hold a memorial ceremony for Lauren to bring closure to the long search for her. Each of Lauren's friends brings something special that represents their bond with her. Anna brings a piece of black cloth, following a Russian tradition meant to guide the spirit of the deceased peacefully to the afterlife. But since Lauren's body was never found, they create a memorial tree to represent her. Anna approaches the tree and ties the cloth around it, remembering the time she spent with Lauren, how Lauren used to encourage her to travel to Russia to join a ballet troupe and become like Anna Pavlova. Anna smiles at the memory of how well Lauren understood her dreams. Lauren once joked with her not to end up like Anna Karenina, and Anna had promised she never would. Anna Karenina, of course, is the fictional heroine from Leo Tolstoy's novel of the same name, a young woman who marries a wealthy aristocrat to gain social status, but without love or passion between them. Years later, she finally experiences love with another man and has a child with him, but society turns against her, unable to understand her loneliness and yearning for affection. When her lover grows distant and her husband refuses to forgive her, Anna believes she has no other way out and ends her own life. Lauren had warned Anna not to end up like Anna Karenina because she knew Anna was planning to marry her rich cousin, a man she didn't truly love. Back in the present, Anna sits beside her cousin during the ceremony, and when he tries to hold her hand, she quietly pulls away. Then we see Maddie, who remembers the moment her parents died and how she found a letter from Lauren comforting her with a poem about how death isn't the final destiny for those who are loved. The rest of the group recalls their memories with Lauren, the one who first came up with the idea for the boat and surprised them with it, who encouraged them to dive into the open sea and discover something new every day, and who was a kind, loyal friend to each of them in her own way. Maddie ties the first piece of rope from their boat around Lauren's memorial tree, and then Isabel writes a note to Lauren, telling her she always wished she could have known her. Henry follows, unsure what to write, and remembers when Lauren suddenly decided to break up with him for no clear reason. At that time, Henry had accepted it and told her they'd fall in love again next summer. Now he stands quietly, writes his final goodbye, and walks away. Meanwhile, Stevie stays home, refusing to go to the memorial ceremony because she still believes Lauren is alive. Her sister tells her she has to go, to stand by her friends, and to make sure she won't regret it later if Lauren truly is gone and she missed the only chance to say goodbye. Stevie finally agrees to attend. During the ceremony, she listens to the mayor speaking about the city's loss of a young woman like Lauren, but Stevie grows emotional and interrupts her, stepping forward to speak instead. She tells everyone they must not lose hope and that they need to keep searching for Lauren until the very end. Everyone becomes emotional, and Anna tries to calm Stevie down, gently guiding her back to her seat. Then Lauren's father steps forward to speak, holding his daughter's jacket in his hands. Suddenly, Isabel remembers the moment she hid under Lauren's bed, seeing that exact same jacket right there in the room. That means Lauren wasn't wearing it the day she disappeared. Isabel immediately realizes something is wrong and asks the group to meet right after the memorial. Meanwhile, Anna tells her cousin she won't be able to have dinner with him because her friends need her. He gets upset, reminding her she promised, but Anna tells him she won't be like Anna Karenina, and for that reason, she's ending things with him before walking away. The group gathers afterward to rethink the last time they saw Lauren, wondering if she really was wearing her jacket. Stevie concentrates hard until she finally remembers. Lauren wasn't wearing it at all. They start to suspect that someone deliberately put the jacket in the water to make it seem like she had died. Together, they begin to discuss who might have had a reason to fake Lauren's death. They return to the diving club, only to find the place a mess, as if someone had been searching for something. But strangely, everything valuable is still there. While they're talking, Isabel notices an open book lying on the table, with a pin stuck on the page identical to Lauren's brooch, the same one Maddie had been wearing. They realize it's one of the precious jewels from the Russian shipwreck, meaning Lauren must have found it and hidden it in her diving suit. Maddie quickly checks her jacket, where she'd pinned the brooch, only to find it's missing. The group immediately suspects Leo, since he's a known treasure hunter and had mistaken Maddie for Lauren before. They decide to confront him with their accusation, but when they find him, Leo shows them a history book describing the legendary jewels from the sunken Russian ship. He tells them that the owners of the sunken ship were the Romanovs, who had been exiled from Russia, and that none of them survived except for one, a young girl named Princess Anastasia. Explorers believe she was the one who sailed the ship, bringing with her the royal Russian crown jewels, which included the midnight brooch, the meridian necklace, and the nightingale bracelet. But the final and most priceless jewel of all was the royal ruby crown. Leo then looks at Maddie and tells her that the brooch she had pinned to her jacket was, in fact, the midnight brooch. He pleads with them to let him hold it for just a moment, to feel it in his hands. The group looks confused and asks him if he wasn't the one who stole it. Leo is shocked. He can't believe it was taken from them so easily. He gets angry when he learns they left it unguarded at the diving club, but after calming himself down, he admits they couldn't have known its value. He suggests they return to the shipwreck to search for the remaining jewels, which should still be inside a wooden chest located in Princess Anastasia's cabin. Leo shows them the ship's blueprint, pointing out the exact location where the chest is likely to be found. They immediately begin preparing for their expedition to the Russian shipwreck, bringing with them special wrist devices designed to repel sharks. Since sharks are sensitive to electric waves, the devices emit counter-frequency pulses to keep them away from the divers. On the boat, Leo encourages the girls, telling them that 100 years ago, there was a brave young woman who sailed across the sea on a massive ship carrying her family's legacy, and a century later, another young woman risked her life to protect it. Now, he says, it's their mission to finish what she started, referring to Lauren. Together, they dive into the depths of the ocean, following Leo's expert instructions until they finally reach the site of the sunken ship. There, Stevie finds the jewelry box, but at that moment, a mysterious figure appears in front of Leo, attacks him, and pulls off his oxygen mask to knock him unconscious before escaping into the dark waters. Isabel spots the attacker just in time and rushes toward him, but he disappears, forcing the group to surface quickly and return to the boat. Once aboard, they urgently call for an ambulance. Stevie opens the box and finds inside the same necklace they had seen in the old book, the meridian necklace. Leo regains consciousness briefly, sees the necklace, thanks them weakly, and then faints again. They speed back to shore, where the ambulance is already waiting. The mayor learns what happened and decides to shut down the diving club completely for safety reasons. The next day, Anna attends her ballet class, and when she finishes, she's surprised to see her mother waiting for her. Her mother praises her bravery for diving into the unknown among sharks and tells her she's certain Anna's future will be extraordinary. Overjoyed, Anna thanks her mother, who adds that as a reward for her courage and discipline, she'll reopen the diving club soon. Meanwhile, Isabel sits alone, singing softly to herself when Henry arrives and joins her. The two grow closer for a moment until Maddie and Stevie interrupt them, taking Isabel with them to Anna's house to check on Leo. There, Anna's grandmother refuses to let them speak to him or see him. The group sits together, talking about the person who attacked them underwater, certain it's the same one who stole the brooch. But they can't understand why that person is trying to fake Lauren's death while also making it obvious that the brooch was stolen. If the goal was to stay hidden, it doesn't make sense to leave so many clues. They begin to suspect that whoever it is wants to scare them, to make them abandon their search for the treasure once and for all. They ask Stevie where the necklace she found is, and she tells them she's hiding it under her bed. Later, everyone heads home, and we see Stevie trying to avoid her sister, who keeps asking her for help with small things. Luckily for her, their father calls and takes her sister out, leaving Stevie alone in the room. She takes out the necklace, puts it on, and playfully pretends to be a princess, twirling and dancing in front of the mirror. Suddenly, she feels as if someone is watching her from the garden outside. Terrified, she rushes to the window and quickly shuts it. Meanwhile, Isabel goes to Maddie's house, asking if they can hang out because she's bored. Out of nowhere, a strange phone rings. It's Leo's phone, which happens to be with Maddie. Isabel decides to answer and pretends to be Leo's assistant. She manages to convince the caller that she'll deliver the message to Leo. The man on the line explains that the coin Leo sent him was originally a gift given to the crew of an East India Company ship that had been on a secret mission before mysteriously disappearing in 19 1912. The ship's name was Nemesis. Maddie feels she's heard that name before, but can't remember where. They decide to search through Lauren's belongings to find any connection or clue about the ship. At home, they start watching old tapes about the history of Cape Mercy, while also going through books. Suddenly, Maddie hears something in one of the tapes about a ship that exploded in 1912 for unknown reasons. From the footage, she learns the location of the wreck, and then notices that the coordinates shown in the video match the strange numbers that were written in Lauren's diary, the ones they never understood before. Realizing this is a major breakthrough, Maddie and Isabel call the whole group together to share their discovery. They all agree they must go to the wreck site to find out whether Lauren really reached that ship, or if she disappeared trying to. Anna sneaks into her mother's room and steals the key to the diving club so they can borrow some equipment without anyone knowing. At the dock, Henry spots them and warns them not to do anything reckless, but Isabel reassures him, saying that even though the ship moored at the harbor is safe, that's not the one they're really after. They leave him behind, board their own boat, and head toward the coordinates. When they dive down, they actually find the name of the ship engraved on a massive statue buried deep in the ocean floor. To their shock, the ship isn't completely destroyed, meaning the explosion wasn't an accident but deliberate sabotage. The group returns to the shore of the city, shaken by what they've seen. Later, Maddie decides to visit Leo to check on him, but Anna's grandmother tells her he's still in a coma and hasn't woken up yet. Suddenly, the heart monitor alarm starts beeping, and everyone rushes over, thinking he's in critical condition. Anna's father calls the doctor, who assures them it's just a reaction to the medication and not life-threatening. Relieved, Maddie leaves and reunites with her friends, who are rehearsing for the island's annual festival. The celebration reenacts the story of Princess Anastasia's daughter guiding her people to the island centuries ago. Lucinda arrives carrying the dresses they'll wear, and Isabel helps Stevie get ready, but she freezes when she sees the meridian necklace still around Stevie's neck. She's horrified and warns her to be more careful with it, reminding her it's not just a piece of jewelry. A little later, Anna returns home and, by coincidence, overhears her mother talking with her grandmother about the staged evidence they created to make it look like Lauren had died. Anna is stunned by what she hears and demands to know why they did it. Her mother sits her down and explains that she had no other choice, that she needed to do it so Lauren's father could finally move on, because it would have been cruel to let everyone keep living in false hope after all this time. Anna is shocked by her mother's confession and tells her she had no right to manipulate everyone's emotions, that Lauren might still be alive. Her mother then admits she feels responsible, explaining that part of the emergency protocol during the storm required sending patrols to check for anyone stranded at sea, but they didn't have the resources to carry it out. Angry and disappointed, Anna storms out and leaves her. A while later, Anna's grandmother finds her sitting in the church and joins her there. She reveals a family secret. Their ancestor was none other than Princess Anastasia herself, and that means Anna is a descendant of the Russian royal family. She shows Anna a bracelet that once belonged to the princess, the third royal jewel, and gives it to her, telling her it's the last treasure of their bloodline and that she must protect it at all costs. However, she warns her to be careful, because not everyone will accept the truth that she is of royal heritage. Anna is overwhelmed with joy and pride, and a glimmer of arrogance appears in her eyes. Excited, she rushes to tell her friends what she's just learned, proudly declaring that she's a princess from the royal family. Her friends celebrate with her and decide to throw her a coronation party in her honor. Meanwhile, Hayden visits Henry, who scolds him for neglecting his job. Hayden explains that he received an offer from someone else, an opportunity that could save him months of work and help him pay off his debt faster. When Henry asks who made the offer, Hayden refuses to say and walks away. Back at Anna's house, Anna sits with Stevie in her room and demands that she hand over the necklace, claiming it's part of her family's legacy and rightfully hers. Stevie refuses, insisting they should talk about it first and that she's not obligated to give it up just because Anna says so. The argument quickly escalates into a heated fight between them. At that moment, Maddie is walking around Anna's house looking for some sweets when she suddenly hears the front door creak open. She pauses, listens carefully, and calls out, but no one answers. She shuts the door again, feeling uneasy. As she straightens the framed portrait of Mercy, the granddaughter of Princess Anastasia, hanging on the wall, she notices something odd behind it. She moves it aside and discovers another hidden painting, this one of a red-haired pirate woman standing proudly among her crew. Intrigued, Maddie decides to take the painting, hides it in her bag, and quietly returns to the room. Meanwhile, in a dark, abandoned place, Lauren is revealed to be alive, locked in a cell, screaming at the top of her lungs for help, begging anyone to hear her. The next day, Maddie sits alone at the diving club with Lauren's diary, the coin they found, and the mysterious painting. She spreads them out beside several old books, hoping to uncover the meaning behind the image. The pirate woman's name, she discovers, matches the name of the ship they found in the ocean, Nemesis, the same secret vessel once owned by the East India Company. Suddenly, the rest of the group arrives, and Maddie quickly hides the painting and all her notes, pretending everything is normal. Later, she goes to visit Leo and tells him she's discovered things so dangerous they could change everything they know. She admits she's unsure whether it's better not to know the truth at all. Leo tells her that ignorance doesn't mean peace, that she must always pursue the truth, no matter how painful it might be. But he warns her to be careful, because the existence of the jewels will only attract thieves, smugglers, and pirates. Maddie freezes in shock and asks if pirates still exist. Leo looks at her and says there will always be pirates, in every era, people willing to harm others for treasure. He tells her he's seen many good people destroyed simply because they got too close to gold. In that instant, Maddie suddenly remembers the fire that broke out years ago on her grandfather's farm. We return to the group, who are still trying on their dresses. Anna arrives late, apologizing and saying it's been a tough day. Stevie teases her, asking if she forgot her crown and sword, and Anna laughs bitterly, saying she just had a fight with her controlling mother. Stevie replies that she's glad she's nothing like her, and while Anna is adjusting her dress, she notices the necklace sticking out of Stevie's bag. Without anyone noticing, Anna quietly steals it and hides it under her gown, wearing it around her neck. Meanwhile, Maddie visits her grandfather, who's standing at his late wife's grave. She asks him directly if the fire that happened years ago was because he got too close to the treasure. Her grandfather sighs and admits the truth. Yes, it was. He shows her the same coin she found and tells her that he had uncovered a dangerous secret that could have changed the country's history forever. But after the fire, he became terrified that he couldn't protect her and her grandmother, so he chose to forget everything and pretend he knew nothing. Maddie tells him she won't stay silent, that she's not afraid of anything, and says that while the ship at the harbor is safe, that's not her real mission. Her grandfather smiles proudly and tells her she's exactly like her mother, brave and determined. That evening, the festival begins, and the play about mercy is performed as everyone celebrates together. But suddenly, Anna spots her mother standing with Lauren's father and realizes they're romantically involved. Just then, Anna's father appears and she runs to him, hugging him tightly to distract him from seeing what's happening. At that exact moment, the city's lighthouse, supposedly broken, flickers to life. The group stares at it in shock as the light flashes on and off in a steady rhythm. Isabel narrows her eyes and realizes it's not random. It's a Morse code distress signal. They all watch in silence as the sequence repeats, and when it finally ends, they decode it together. The flashing light spells out a single name: Lauren. The group rushes toward the lighthouse, hearts pounding. They break open the heavy door and freeze in shock. Lauren is inside, alive. None of them can believe their eyes. Overwhelmed with emotion, they rush to her, hugging her tightly as she struggles to hold back tears. They tell her everything that happened since her disappearance: their search for her, the sunken ship, the strange coin found in her room, and all the clues they uncovered through her diary. Lauren listens, trembling, before a shadow suddenly moves behind them. A masked figure emerges from the darkness. Before he can attack, Stevie grabs a nearby object and hits him, giving the group just enough time to escape the lighthouse. Outside, Lauren, still shaking, tells them that everything started because of a key she found, but she has no idea what it opens. Maddie suddenly remembers an old crypt she used to see whenever she visited her grandmother's grave. She had always asked about who was buried there, but no one ever knew. When Lauren mentions the name engraved on the key, Maddie realizes it matches the name on that crypt. The group hurries there, and when they try the key, it fits. Inside, they find an ancient tomb carved with the same figure they saw on the statue beneath the ocean. Lauren then hands Anna a bundle of old papers, Princess Anastasia's daughter's diary, written in Russian. Anna, being the only one who can read it, begins to translate. The diary reveals that Mercy, the princess's daughter, fled across the sea with her servants, but their ship was caught in a violent storm and destroyed. They spent days drifting in lifeboats until they encountered pirates. Mercy writes about her growing fear of a woman with fiery red hair and piercing blue eyes, the pirate captain who commanded the ship that hunted them. The pirate's name was Nicholas. Mercy describes how Nicholas attacked them on a remote island, demanding that she hand over the royal jewels. But the princess refused, choosing to fight for her family's legacy. The diary ends abruptly there, leaving the rest a mystery, until Maddie notices an inscription carved into the tombstone beneath them. them. It continues the story, revealing that the princess died by the pirate's hand, and that her loyal servants buried her here in secret, protecting her body and her family's treasure for generations to come. Nicholas seizes control of the island and rules its people after impersonating the princess and claiming her inheritance. Only one bracelet remains, while the rest disappeared along with the lost ship. The group is shocked by what they hear, realizing that Anna is not the princess's descendant, but the granddaughter of the pirate who killed her, since the princess's life ended before she ever had any children. Anna is devastated by what she hears and cannot believe she's the granddaughter of a pirate, not a member of the royal family, as her grandmother had told her, and as she had believed all her life. She refuses to believe any of it, accusing her friends of not loving her and of wanting her to be just like them. She storms out, leaving them behind, and goes to the diving club, where she looks at the portrait of the princess, but is surprised to see the painting of the red-haired pirate. Furious, she burns the painting and quickly boards her boat. At that time, Leo tries to move but feels very dizzy, remembering the drink Anna's grandmother used to give him and realizing that his life is ending. Meanwhile, Anna reaches the group and they try to stop her from sailing away, but she insists and they all get on the boat with her. They soon see their diving club filled with their dreams and memories burning. Suddenly, Hayden's boat appears behind them and they call out for his help to put out the fire, but he ignores them and reaches out his hand to Anna, asking her to come with him. Then, Anna's grandmother appears behind him, telling Anna to get on board and warning the group that she will not allow them to destroy everything she and her ancestors built. She declares that the oath between her and her great-grandmother Nicholas to keep their secret buried will not be broken because of a few kids like them. Anna hesitates, torn between choosing her friends or her grandmother and her dream of greatness and royalty. In the end, she chooses to go with her grandmother, who orders Hayden to tie up the girls on their boat in the middle of the sea. Suddenly, a storm begins, and it becomes clear that the grandmother's true intention is to get rid of them forever, so her secret will remain buried. While Hayden is tying up his girlfriend Stevie, he secretly slips a knife into her hand so she can free herself. He then leaves them and sails away, and the series ends.